Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. The MacBook Neo is an amazing laptop. I've got it in Citrus. This thing is $600, and honestly, every time I use it, that fact blows my mind. I don't know if you guys have ever had a product that you've paid like a really suspiciously good price for, but had it be insanely good quality. That is this. That is absolutely this. You will use this laptop, you will enjoy it, you will love it, and you will never once think to yourself, this is $600 in a negative way. I guarantee it. And what Apple has done here is honestly nothing short of amazing. It's very Apple to make a machine like this. The least Apple thing about this is the price. Now, $600 is great for students. It's great for classrooms. It's great for schools, honestly. And it's great for people that just want a good laptop, because pretty much anything else in this price range is either bad HP like laptops, nobody wants those, the hinges break, or you've got Chromebooks, which go way cheaper than $600, but reliability, longevity, you know, it's very questionable. With MacBooks, you kind of know what you're getting. macOS is a very strong operating system. It's very secure, it's very smooth, and the fact that Apple controls the chips and everything, you know, it is tightly integrated. So MacBooks, they're hard to beat. That's my personal opinion. I don't like Windows machines, that's just me. So let's go ahead and talk about design, because it's one of my favorite parts of this laptop. Because for $600, I bet you've never seen an all aluminum computer before. Like, it's aluminum here, it's aluminum here, on the sides, there's not a bit of plastic in sight, you guys, and when I open it up, it looks premium. It doesn't look $600 at all. And one of my favorite parts of the design, just looking at the top here, is the Apple logo. This is actually an aluminum Apple logo. I don't know if they've ever done this on any of their other designs. The fact that it is kind of like a slightly different shade of green than the rest of the laptop is really cool. Now, how Apple typically does their apples on their MacBooks is it looks like this. So very reflective, kind of like glassy. So it's cool to see them try something different with the Neo. And one thing that I really want to get the point across here is how good this feels to hold. Now this is going to be a little hard to film, that's why I'm standing up, you guys. But it's got a nice rounded design everywhere. So even on the corners, that's a great example. It's nice and rounded even up here. So on the MacBook Pro, it kind of like flattens off at the top here, but it's rounded at the bottom. With the Neo, it's a very friendly design. So this is like begging you to hold it, basically. What am I saying? It's very late as I'm recording this, you guys, but everything is rounded. It feels great to hold. There's no angle of holding this laptop that feels uncomfortable. Nothing digs into your hand. It's very light and easy to hold on to. This weighs basically the same as a MacBook Air in 13 inches. In fact, I think it's the exact same weight. When I unboxed this, I compared an M2 MacBook Air to the Neo. The dimensions were very surprising. So it was actually a little bit smaller than the 13-inch, because I guess technically the MacBook Air is like a 13.3 inch. This is a 13.0. So footprint of this is a lot smaller, but the thickness was basically identical to an Air. Still talking about design, you get two USB-C ports. Now, this is the only high-speed port. This one is USB-C 3, if I'm not mistaken. This one is 2.0, which is not great. So if you plug in a drive to this port, it will tell you that it is the slow port. If you're hoping to edit on this machine and you use a backup drive, because this only has 256 gigs, you need to plug it into this port. Now you can plug in your drive and charge using this one, but with this port, it doesn't fast charge either. So it'll warn you about that as well. So one fast port on the laptop, not ideal. Now on the sides here, we've got speakers, and you've got one on either side. Speakers are actually surprisingly good. Listening to music, watching shows on this, I was never once like, this is too quiet or anything like that. It's got a good volume to it. And then you do have a headphone jack as well, which is very nice because people still use wired headphones, right? This side, you've got nothing but a speaker. It looks kind of cool, looks futuristic. Could they have put another USB-C port here? Yeah, of course they could. It's $600, you guys. There's going to be compromises. That's something that we're gonna be covering here. From a design standpoint, there really aren't any compromises. It's also the most repairable MacBook in 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully that fact is correct. And you are actually able to open this up and change the battery because the battery isn't soldered to the board or anything like that. So that is really cool that you could potentially do that if you wanted to. Can't say that for other MacBooks. So let's go ahead and get this guy opened up. Yes, I'm still using this wallpaper, I know. It's a great wallpaper, it matches it perfectly. So inside, you've got a bright, beautiful display. I've got it full brightness here. I'll go ahead and put it right up to the camera for you guys. Does it reflect a lot of light? Yeah, you can see my lights in the studio. Obviously, it's not a nano texture display, but it does a pretty decent job of killing reflections. Now, does it do as good of a job as the glossy display on my MacBook Pro? It doesn't, I will say. But again, this is a different display compared to a MacBook Pro, so there are compromises here, of course. And another thing, we've got bezels. Of course we do. What is interesting is, I'll hold it up here for you guys, we have no notch. Now we do have a camera right there and it is pretty decent quality, but no notch on a MacBook. This makes me believe we're gonna see the notch die next year. Just a theory. I think we're gonna see some redesigns across the Air line and the Pro line coming pretty soon. So this is technically the first computer with the new design language. Again, a theory. Now, the keyboard of this is awesome. It's a joy to type on. It feels different than Apple's other MacBooks, even though it's the same Magic Keyboard on paper, but it's got great travel. I like the sound of it. Let me try to get that for you guys. I love this keyboard. It sounds good, it feels good, and it is color matched depending on which Neo you get. So you'll notice it's got a slight like greenish yellow tinge to it. It's not pure white, but it's cool just seeing a MacBook with a different color keyboard because we've seen black keys for so long with the Air and the Pro. It's kind of cool just to see a different color at the very least. And as for usability, it's just as usable as any other MacBook. Now, it is a very small footprint, which I like. It's very compact. You could take it just about anywhere. You've got ample room for both of your wrists. It's actually like surprisingly roomy down here. Trackpad is just as big as other MacBooks. It is also made of glass, so it is high quality. Now, it does click. I'm sure you've seen this in other reviews. So if this is something you don't want, if you like the Force Touch trackpad, you won't find it here. This is a cost-saving measure for sure. As for usability, just like navigating the interface, clicking and stuff, it feels almost identical as it does on other MacBooks. It's really not a big deal. So touching on performance with the Neo really quick, it's great. With 8 GB of RAM, you would think this wouldn't be ideal. So what I'll say is 8 GB of RAM is fine for now. Is it gonna be fine in like 4 or 5 years? Probably not. Apple's other machines have 16 GB of RAM at base, and you cannot buy a Neo with 16 GB of RAM. Now, honestly, that's a strategic move by Apple, because if you want any more RAM than 8 GB, you need to bump up to at least an Air, which is almost double the price of a Neo. 8 GB, honestly, it's very usable. No matter what you do on this thing, it does not lag. I've edited entire videos for my channel on this. I've done work edits as well. It has not struggled. I haven't had playback issues, anything of the sort. So honestly, it handles my workload. It gets a 10 on 10 from me, performance-wise. Battery life is also very good. It does last a full day. Even if you're doing video editing, if you're doing like photo work, stuff like that, normal, typical work stuff works perfectly fine. Now, going back to the RAM really quick, It's 8 gigs. It will go into memory swap. That's basically unavoidable. If you have Chrome open, it's basically gonna go into swap, or at the very least, it's going to fill out that 8 gigabytes. If you know you're a pro, this is not the laptop for you. If you are just getting into laptops, you're like, oh, I want a MacBook, I want something cheap, something fun for class, work, what have you, this is a great computer for you. So if you need to ask yourself if this is the right laptop for you, this probably isn't, but you should know that based on your workload. Another cost-saving measure, you guys, is the lock key. So with the base version of the Neo, it comes with a lock/unlock button. It doesn't really unlock it, it really just locks the screen. So no fingerprint ID, kind of a bummer. And Apple knew what they were doing by making that an upgrade. So the fact that you need to enter your password every single time you go into an app, a website, when you're unlocking the Mac as well, it's going to wear you down, especially if you're used to Touch ID on other Macs. Now, if you have an Apple Watch, you can unlock it with an Apple Watch. It is a setting within macOS. Works beautifully, by the way. So if you already have an Apple Watch, you're good to go. You can just basically have it close to your Mac and it will unlock very quickly. So that is one route you could go if you want to do the cheap $600 Neo without bumping up to the $700 one. Touching on the tiers really quick, if you go to $700, you don't get more RAM, but you do get double the storage. So you go up to 512, which is more of a usable number than 256, let's be honest. And I know you guys are gonna ask, so let me go ahead and check my storage, because I put all of my apps that I use on a daily basis on this thing, just to give you guys an estimate here. There we go. So I'm using 130 gigabytes out of the 245 that can be used. Just something to keep in mind there. I don't have anything too crazy on here. I will show you my apps really quick. I don't have too many apps that take up like a lot of space or too intensive, but here are the ones that I have installed, just for a point of reference. And just to do like a mild little stress test with you guys, because I know people are going to ask, I will show you what my typical workload looks like, and you can kind of use this to determine whether or not this machine would work well for you. So step one, grabbing an external hard drive, because you will basically need it if you want to do any serious work with this machine. I will say that. And we will go ahead and plug that into the fast USB-C port. And let me show you the warning that comes up if you do not plug it into the fast port. Let me show you this. Okay, so if you were to plug it into USB-C port number 2 down here, it should come up with a little message saying this is a slow port. There we go. So there's the message that pops up, you guys. It literally tells you to use the faster USB-C port, which is this one here. Otherwise, you're not gonna get the full speed of the drive. All right, so let's go ahead and swap it back to the fast one, and I will kind of like simulate some work here. So typically I've got a few tabs open. I'm just gonna open these up as an example, you guys. These aren't typically what I use for work, but just to show you guys what I do. So I've got 4 tabs open in Safari right now. And typically I will come over here, I'll open up Chrome, which is literally a laptop killer. Okay, so I've got the apps open in Chrome that I typically use. I'm not gonna log into these or anything because I don't wanna have to go through and blur anything. Let's also go ahead and open CapCut at the same time. So I use CapCut quite a bit. I'm getting into Final Cut. It's a learning process. So let me go ahead and open up a project I actually worked on using this laptop. And even with everything open, oh, we actually have lag. We've got a spinning pinwheel. This has never happened before on this laptop, I'll be honest with you guys. So if I'm scrubbing through here, you can see it's pretty smooth. It's getting a little bit choppy. Honestly, CapCut is not very well optimized for Macs. You can take this test with a grain of salt, that's totally fine. But if we were to play this back, and tell you what, let's go ahead and scoot these to the side here. It's playing back perfectly. Now I've got 2 layers of 4K on here. I've got a couple effects, I've got music. So the fact that this plays back pretty well is a good sign. I haven't had any issues with editing on this machine, to be honest with you guys. Can it edit video? Yeah, it can. It can. If you want to do 4K edits, you can absolutely do that. And then just to show you guys the status of this, so I will go ahead and play this video in the background. We will go ahead and mute it. And let's say I also have some Spotify going. I don't know why I'd be listening to music and editing videos at the same time, but in this case, we're gonna do it. Okay, I'm just gonna play a random playlist here. Here we go. Okay, we got music playing, we've got my Chrome tabs open, we got my Safari tabs open, and we're playing back a 4K edit. Now, if we were to go over to Activity Monitor, which we have open, let me go ahead and hold it up to the screen, you guys. So we are hitting swap. So the full 8 gigabytes of RAM is being used here. We're getting in a swap with 2.45 gigs. That's not ideal. And the memory pressure is in yellow. So if we were doing this workflow and I was exporting, let me go ahead and show you guys what that might look like. So let's say I wanted to export this in 4K. Let me go ahead and get that started. There we go. And I'm expecting the machine to heat up a little bit there. But if we go back to our activity monitor, you can see we're getting in the high range of yellow. We're practically in red. Almost 4 gigabytes of RAM, swap used. Now, is everything usable? Let's go ahead and test that out. Yeah, it's not lagging when switching windows. I can still get into CapCut. Ooh, we got a little lag there. So if I were to swap over to my other screens here, yeah, we can still sort through all of these. I can still swipe. Oh, lagging a little bit there. There we go. Head on over to Safari. Now if we were to like reload one of these web pages and just scroll through it, still pretty smooth. And this is a 60 Hertz panel, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but another cost saving measure. So if you're coming from a ProMotion display, you're used to the scrolling, the butteriness, is this as smooth? It is not, I must say. Yeah, so honestly, it's very usable, even exporting video. Let me go back to my tab here. Chugging through this, this export, you guys. Going back over, and we're back in green. I'm kind of surprised, even though we've got about 4.5 gigs of swap being used. So can it do this kind of work? It can. Obviously, it's doing it right now, so that's pretty impressive. And are there a lot of $600 machines that could do this workload? Probably not. And this isn't even like extremely intensive. Like, I'll be honest, editing videos and exporting them is probably the most intensive thing that I do right now on a MacBook. And honestly, there you have it, you guys. Quick little review of the MacBook Neo in Citrus, the incredible $600 laptop that can do just about anything you would ever want it to do. I want to hear from you guys. Have you considered getting a MacBook Neo? $600 is kind of like borderline impulse buy when it comes to tech, because you could easily spend like over $1,000 on a MacBook. For $600, it's cheaper than most of their phones, and it's the same price as the 17E. Honestly, I love the Neo. If I could find a way to integrate it into my workflow and keep it, I totally would. Anyways, you guys, it is very late. I hope you enjoyed this rant/review kind of live thing that I do on this channel. You guys seem to like these, so I keep making them. So if you did enjoy it, go ahead and drop a like. It helps an absolute ton with the algorithm. But I am Dan. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great night. Bye.